thing on neck cranks I found out is that for me, neck cranks have been in my system for a long time because of the fact that I think I first learned my first neck crank from a wrestler in Taekwondo class in 1976, Taekwondo. 1976, 1977, I had a guy come in and he did a head and arm, and he did a Russian roll, an American roll, a small package, pinned the guy and neck cranked him, and the guy screamed. He's like, wow, what was that? What did you just do? And he goes, oh, that's wrestling, it's a pin, it's a Russian roll, it's an American roll, it's called a small package. It's all to pin a guy, but it's also to crank his neck at the same time. I go, wow. And all I was doing was kicking a heavy bag and shouting loud ki hops, because it's Korean, ki eyes, and kicking the bag, throwing ridge hands, reverse punches. And I saw that and I was like, well, I got to learn that. My brother's a wrestler. I got to learn that so I can beat him with it. I wanted submission. I didn't want wrestling. I don't want to wrestle a wrestler. So, 1976, where were you guys? Were you born yet? Anyways, 1976 was the first time I ever learned a neck crank. 1985, I was introduced to Larry Hartzell and Dan Inosanto. I actually met Rick Fay in 1982 in Minnesota. He was teaching JKD and Kali, and they grappled. And he was talking about this guy who loved to just crank people's necks. And I was like, oh, really? Who's that? And he's like, Larry Hartzell. You got to meet him. Ex-Vietnam vet, just a tough man pajama, a mean mofo. And Larry was really good at just putting a lot of hurt on people as fast as he could. Nothing was nice about any of it. It was all to really hurt people. Now, obviously when you're doing submission wrestling, the last thing you want to do when you're training with a lot of guys is just crank them and rip them and hurt them, because they don't want to train with you and you're not fun to roll with. And what I found is the guys that try to do that usually aren't the good ones. The good guys can actually put something on in slow motion and make it hurt with good control. And that's kind of what you're after. You're not after just grabbing and hitting a guy with a crossface, making his lip and his nose bleed, and oh gosh, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Oh, was that a punch? Yeah, that was a punch. You just punch your partner in the face because you try to get a lock. I think for fighting, that's great. I think when you're for competition, that's fine. But I think when you're rolling on a daily basis with your guys, I don't think that's good. We're all about the PPP. It's called the Protect Your Partner Program. And basically, I want to have a partner every single day that will show up every day and wants to train with me because of the fact that they're getting better, and I can instill pain on them lightly and with control, and not just try to go there and rip someone's head off. So kind of my theory on it, and that's when it started in my system, 1976. 1985, I met Larry Hartzell. He learned the neck cranks from Dan Inosanto, Gene LaBelle, Carl Gotch, Wally J, and some of the other guys. He had some really cool stuff that he did. A lot of it was just to really hurt someone. So Larry Hartzell also trained with Yuri Nakamura, and Yuri's got some really cool variations of the neck crank that I had never seen. All I have to say is I trained with Yuri for almost 10 years, and I think he's probably, in my eyes, he's a submission wizard. The guy is a walking submission library. Sayama was a genius. Nakamura is a wizard. He has the ability to create and take a series of locks and create a whole slew or offset set of locks, offset the standard and take variations of that and go from here and branch it out and make a huge tree out of it. So I remember when I first met Sensei Yuri at the Inosanto Academy in 1988. I took a seminar with him and he showed up and he was teaching something called shuto, or shooting, it said, and it said punch, kick, salto, submission, which is suplex or throwing. Punch, kick, throw, submit. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. I wonder what that is. I'm doing Thai boxing, and I'm going to Hickson Gracie's right now. I was at Horian's and Hoyce's at the time, and then was just starting with Hickson. And I was like, God, I wonder what this is compared to what I'm doing already. And sure enough, I went there and he just showed me on one seminar 30 submissions. I went back to my apartment. My friend was a blue belt in Jiu-Jitsu at the time, so was I. And I said, hey, let's roll. So we rolled in the living room, and then I just neck cranked him and leg locked him and wrist locked him. And he was like, what the hell is that? I was like, it's stuff you don't know. So from then on, I was like, this is cool because I'm learning an offset grappling system that can be supplemented in with the stuff that I was already doing, which was the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. So again, it was 87, 88, 89. With Yuri Nakamura, and also with Hoist Horian and Hickson at the time. In about 94, I started with the Machado Brothers. I got exclamated from one of the schools I was training at because I decided to go pro. And Higgin Machado and the Machado Brothers were really cool, and they said, hey, come and train with us. We'd like to see your jiu-jitsu continue and get better. So I stuck it out with those guys, and very creative, open arm policy, like all the other stuff out there. They don't have anything bad to say about anything. If they do, I've never heard it. They're always very positive and very friendly. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're family. They have a good family, not a lot of pressure to beat everybody up, but a good family who's got a ton of love for each other. It's not such a competitive nature as it is more of a nurturing, growing nature. I know when I was training at the Gracies, it was very competitive at the time. Everyone's trying to win and beat each other, and that's great for fighting. But in the long run, I don't think that that's good to have guys that are continually trying to beat you down every day just because you're trying to get better. And the Machados, what I found with them is that they took me under, and they actually were interested, and I saw them compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments, judo tournaments, and sometimes they go into wrestling tournaments. So for me, grappling's grappling. A move's a move, and I think you need to learn it, and that's important. Standing stock series. You've got half Nelson, 3/4 Nelson. Okay, this is a stock, and then you can go from here. A lot of times when you're kind of transitioning from here to the knees, you can try to stuff the head. You can come here. Now watch. Take the hand over, and take this and bring the and just use your head. That's it. Reverse full Nelson. So when you get the neck and you go here, whoop, try to pull his head down and overhook. There's your half. That could be a 3/4 or 3/4. Okay. Now watch. This hand. Control. Boop. Okay. This is good. Okay. But it's all straight. Come over the top. Okay. Catch your hands here. And now put your hip on it. Lock. Reverse full Nelson. Standing. Okay. Sometimes you can catch it. It's just fun to play with because you might be able to get it. Okay. All right. From here, one of my favorites is the knee. Blow his head down like I'm gonna choke, and then I go right here. Okay. This is good. Catch your hands. Knee his face. Whoop. Whoop, whoop, don't knee deep, it doesn't hurt him, and you'll get caught. Just knee your chest, hop, hop. See where I'm at? I put my taint on his shin bone. I can catch his head, but I'm just gonna go right here. Post, that's the key. Sit out. Doesn't take much. Ooh, let his head go. Oh, his arm's trapped. Look at his other arm's trapped. Punch, punch, punch. Defense. Thank you. V-arm lock. Ah, tap. Straighten your arm. Good. Defense. Back to his favorite. See, now Rob is afraid of the dark. So, in here, in this position, we got to cover his eyes. And he screams like a baby. I told you. I told you. Okay, so we're going to go into a stock here. Pull his head in headlock. Oh. Bring your arms down. Oh, you're too strong. Hold on. Give me the Incredible Hulk pose. Oh. That's the counter. Go. Oh, oh good. Hip. Now I'm looking at it. Post. Sit out. Head up. Oh, look where you're at. Thank you. Woo.